Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. All right, I did a video last week, and I was talking about the before stories of various people and the importance of knowing and realizing as you look at people when you're watching them on YouTube and in social media, like they weren't always maybe what you saw, and kind of to see the story where they come from puts it a lot in perspective. So I thought today that this one, I'm just going to kind of give you my backstory and my story of when I lost my weight on this lifestyle and exactly how it happened, because mine wasn't exactly a linear progression, because not all of the weight loss came through the raw vegan part, and I'll explain that as I go along. Now, just a little background on me. Um, I was a fat kid. I was pretty much overweight up until about the fifth or sixth grade. Um, Not morbidly obese or anything, but pretty big. I mean, I do remember like in the fifth or sixth grade. I think I remember in the sixth grade being about, I want to say I was about 140 pounds, and I want to say I had about a 34-inch waistline. I'm just totally guessing. There was definitely a fat kid. I'm not sure how much it was. Sometimes between the sixth and the seventh grade that summer, I lost about 20 pounds, kind of slimmed out. That's that age where you're growing. But even through high school, I worked out. I started going to the gym. I started building up, but I kind of had eh, I graduated high school at about 195 pounds, and I wasn't overweight, but I didn't have much shape to my body. I was, kind of thick. As I went into college, I worked out more and more. Even did steroids a couple of times, because pretty much the gym I went to, whether you competed or anything, that was just a different time. That was the 80s. I went to university. I started Auburn University in 1982. And back then, knew absolutely nothing. So just ate like a horse, drank like a fish, and went to the gym and lifted heavy. I looked like I got bigger and bigger. Most all of my college days, I was over 200 pounds. My highest, I got up to about 245. I wasn't like a fat boy. Like I didn't have a big gut or anything. I wasn't solid and just huge and cut like a bodybuilder. I looked kind of like a linebacker. I was thick, big shoulders, big chest, heavy, big arms, could bench press a lot, bench press about 350, which wasn't that much for the weight that I was carrying. But, it was thick around the middle. You didn't see any sign of abs. So, like I say, looked like a football player. Didn't keep at that highest weight for long, and I started coming down in increments. I'd come down to 225, and then I got out of university, and I remember the next jump was down to around the 210, 212 range, and then I remember hitting below 200. Now, just giving some background, the thing is all during these times, I have never, the reason I'm telling you a little background story is now that you see me, I'm rather lean. I was never one of those people that had that natural metabolism. The people that they joke about, you always hate, can eat anything and doesn't gain a pound. Wasn't me. Anytime I ever got back in shape, or, I would let myself go a little bit and decide it was time to lose some weight, trim down, get back in shape again. And it was always that struggle. It was always probably restricting calories, and not radically restricting, but I was on the standard American diet, eating like that. And it was always about lowering your calories and exercising like crazy in the gym, especially the cardio to burn it off. And I could do it. So now as the story progresses, I will show you this, and I'll tell you exactly how I'm going to kind of do the chronology here. Here are my before photos. These are my before photos that are roughly from 5 years ago. Now this is right as I was starting in my journey. I think this is probably December of 2011 or early January of 2012. And I knew this was going to be the time. So I did before photos. There have been times before where I got back in shape, and later on I was like, wow, I should have done the before. So I did the before photos. So these are the before photos right here. All right. Now, here's the thing about the before photos. I started, and I've mentioned this part before, I kind of started doing things and getting my health back. I was transitioning and I didn't know it at the time because my natural method of operations back then was when I went, when I needed to dry out from the booze, when I needed to get back in shape, drop some weight. Instinctually, I went back to fruit and whatever. I think I got that years and years ago from the book Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond about eating fruit till noon. That's one thing that always stuck with me. So a lot of times when I get back on these health kicks, getting back in shape, I would eat fruit until noon. So as it started back in January of 2012, I started off, just fruit during the day, smoothies, salads. I was still eating some, meat, not that often. I'd cut the animal products way down. Was probably having meat like 3 times a week, having eggs 2 or 3 times a week, and cheese a couple or 3 times a week. Well, I kept going like this, going for about 3 months, or no, for about 6 months. And I was losing weight. In fact, I'm going to show you 2 things. I'm going to show you one thing right now. I'm going to show you, this is like, okay, after about 6 months, and this is right at the time where I found out about raw. And in my opinion, I wish I'd have stopped here because I was lean as could be. I didn't have fat, but I had a lot more muscle back then. So this is me right here, and I'm going to guesstimate around 180 pounds. Maybe 175, maybe 180. And just to go back there, the before photos, and I didn't have a scale at the time, but if I'm guesstimating I know how I look and I know how my pants were feeling at the time and what that correlates to on the scale. I was definitely over 200 in those before photos, and my best guess is I was probably about 210 in those photos. So now in this photo where I'm just now finding the raw vegan lifestyle, I'm about, what did I say I'm there? I'm probably like 175, 180 there. And that's where I think I should have stopped. But I got to the raw vegan. I was new to the raw vegan. I didn't know anything about what I was doing, and I was starting to listen to a bunch of different people, and you're hearing about the detox and cleaning your body and this and that. Well, and this is probably a similar story. I wasn't eating near enough in the beginning, not because I was purposely restricting, but because I just didn't know you needed to eat that much food to satisfy yourself and to get your, get everything you needed. Well, it wasn't like I was sitting around hungry all the time. It was just I kept my stomach just kept shrinking. Well, I had blood sugar issues. I was getting to the point I was eating so little, I guess. I'm guesstimating now maybe 1,500 calories a day, that every time I stood up, I'd get lightheaded because of blood pressure issues. Well, I'm working a lot at the time. I'm going back and forth from where I live in the city, across town, on the bus, and I'm just a lot of things going on in my life. Not paying attention so much, and not paying attention to the fact that I'm looking like, one of the kids on the street with his saggy pants, because my pants are just getting looser and looser and looser. Didn't have a scale. The lighting in the apartment I had at the time, I just wasn't really seeing myself, and so I I keep going, and I actually had to take a knife and cut some holes in my belt. I just kept dropping weight, not really thinking about it, until finally I'm like, okay. And I don't have a photo at that lowest weight. I dropped from about 210 to about 143, and I looked like a crackhead. I looked like I was, just hitting the pipe on a regular basis. I looked bad. The first slap in the face was when I went and saw my mom, and my mom's been supportive during all this whole journey of mine, but she was like, "What the hell have you done to yourself?" And I started looking at myself in different mirrors, and even after I came back to Costa Rica, I'd catch a glance of myself, and I was just these little stick arms, and I'm not big now, but so anyhow, I dropped down to a low of 143. I lost a lot of muscle when I should have stopped back at that last photo. So I guess what I'm getting around on this is I can be skeptical with people sometimes, and I know what everybody will tell me. Everybody's body is different, but as I'm coming from a background that is not where I didn't have this ramped up metabolism, whatever, some of the things I've learned are, okay, we speak a little bit too much in generalities. Yes, I was calorie restricting, but somehow I didn't get metabolic damage. I've been able to, I've still worked to to put weight on ever since I've been doing this lifestyle. So I was restricting, but it wasn't like it slowed down my metabolism. I can still eat anything I want. I don't know. I guess the takeaway for me is, like I say, I just think about sometime what could have been. I could be sitting, about 25 pounds heavier, just as lean as I am, have a little bit more muscle. But at 52, almost 53, I don't necessarily need to be, I'm not going to be lifting a truck off of anybody, and I'm healthy enough to do what I need. I've got adequate strength. I'm probably stronger than the average guy my age, although I'm not super strong by any means. But yeah, on this lifestyle, to bring it all together, is when people say they're doing fully raw and they can't lose the weight, I almost need to go to them instead of them asking me what they need to do. I need to go to them, ask them what I need to do, because I just don't see it. Eating a clean version of the raw vegan lifestyle, I try to gain weight. And if I don't, I think I could if I just had every day with all the food I needed every day to make sure I was going to get that 35, 33. I think to add some weight, I'd need about 3,400 calories a day, maybe 35. And, I'll do that for a while, and then boom, something comes up and I miss calories for a few days. So I usually stay about the same weight. I don't gain, I don't lose, but I just can't fathom gaining weight on this lifestyle. I can't fathom not losing weight on this lifestyle. Even when I go to the States and eat cooked food, I eat cooked food for 2 weeks. I don't necessarily eat it every day. And even when I'm in the States, I only eat it for one meal. All this, you're going to start gaining weight again. I don't. 2 weeks there, and maybe I gain a pound, which is gone within 3 days of being gone. So, for weight loss, I definitely have to give it a thumbs up. And if nothing else, just from my perspective, like I've said from the beginning, this show is just kind of like, this is what I'm doing. This is the results I'm getting. Hey, maybe it's magic beans. Maybe I ate some magic beans and it happened. You make your own, you draw your own conclusions on that. But, this is the only thing I've ever done in my life that I found where I could, keep the weight off. Now, what I'll do is here, just to throw in, just to kind of give you a perspective on, I wouldn't say recent years, this is probably 7-8 years ago, but how I could get in shape. I could get lean, I could get buff. Here's a couple of photos here of probably 8 years ago. The times when I was still drinking at the time, I was still eating animal products at the time, but I had decided to get back in shape. And this was me. So like I say, I was probably packing about 180 pounds, 185 pounds here, but I was still, I was still solid. You could still see abs, what have you. And I guess at the very end of this video, I'll show you one of my most recent body shots, because I'm kind of trying to gear back up again. It's kind of a quasi before and after shot, because it's an after shot because it's where I am now after, 4 years of being on this lifestyle. But I also like to keep it as a before so I can see what I'm doing through 2017. Hey, I'm 52 and I don't exercise all the time. I have my little regimen that works for me. I stay not tight and toned. I'm not anything phenomenal by any means. Don't ever think I'm saying that, but I do. As I go back and look through these videos, I see, as I keep plugging away, I see a little bit more progress each year. And when you're 52, I'll take that. There's not the huge gains, I'm not jumping from this to this, but I'll take it. So anyhow, that's kind of my weight loss story. Yeah, overall I lost about 50 pounds. Not as dramatic, not quite as dramatic, because I wasn't, super big, but I've just got to say, like I say, it's just my endorsement. And from my opinion, it's the easiest way I ever found to get lean and to stay lean over a period of time. So just me. Anyhow, just wanted to relate, give you guys a little bit more backstory on me. If you like this one, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and hope you have a great weekend. Love you guys. Peace.